Good morning, and welcome to Bad Bat Hikes. I'm in a different location today. Welcome to the theater that I work at. So I am working part-time at a theater. So welcome. I thought it would be fun to film a little Q&A video on my lunch break while I'm here at work. And yes, I am wearing a Bad Bat Hikes t-shirt, which if you want one, they're linked in every video below. I've had a couple people ask me about them, so get your Bad Bat swag. They come in a bunch of different colors, and there's a mug and a sticker and other things if you want any Bad Bat swag. So welcome. Okay, so over on Instagram and on the community tab on YouTube, I asked a little while ago for post-trail questions so I could do this video. So we're gonna start off with a huge life update. You ready? First question, and I'll pop them up on the screen, but for now I'm looking at my phone to read them. It says, congratulations, we were wondering when you summited. Great job. Where's Nick? Weird jump cut because I didn't quite get a great explanation of this when I was on the stage. So basically, Nick, the man I've been with for 7 years, has left me. It was a complete shock. I did not see it coming. None of my friends saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming. He told me the day before I summited, so the day we tried to go up and we couldn't, I was told that day. So this video is me trying my very best to hold it together. So good acting skills for me. The only explanation that the internet is going to get / needs for the content of this channel is he was very unhappy, apparently for a long time, and views that he would continue to be unhappy being with me. It's not because I hiked. He encouraged me to hike. It is not because of the hike, and that's what this channel is about. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. Just know that Nick is no more, and my entire life outside of trail has been turned upside down. So that is the explanation of where's Nick. Which leads me into, how are you mentally since being off trail? An absolute pile of garbage. But that has nothing to do with, you know, not being on trail anymore. It has everything to do with my entire life falling apart. Which leads me into, what will you do now? We will miss you when it ends on YouTube, and congratulations. Thank you very much. What will you do now in real life? I have no idea. I am living with a family member. I am searching for a full-time job that's gonna give me health insurance and a place to live. And in the meantime, I have, you know, very nicely been offered a part-time job here at the theater that I do shows at. So YouTube's not ending. It's just the daily YouTube is ending. So now we're once a week, baby, once a week. Okay, so we're gonna focus on trail questions. Enough with, you know, me completely losing my mind every day. How are you feeling, Thru hiker? Depends on the day. As far as trail goes, with it happening when it did, I didn't really get to register finishing the trail, which was not fun. I'm gonna be real with you. Next, and I'm gonna have to like black out part of this. It says, how strong do you feel knowing you did that? Bleep. I feel very strong. Now focusing on trail only, okay? Focusing on trail only. I feel very, very strong. That was an incredible journey to take, and it took a lot of physical and mental strength to make it to the end, but I did it. Whoa, go me. So I feel very strong, unicorn explorers. How did it feel on the back of the Katahdin sign with the big drop off to take the iconic pic? So if you weren't unaware, like the very iconic Katahdin sign, there's like a drop off like right behind you. So it didn't feel any different to me than any other drop off I've been walking next to for, 2,200 miles, but I was trying not to completely fall apart that day. So this is a twofer. I'll pop them both up here, but it says, this is really stupid. It is not. It is a very valid question. But what do you do if nature calls on Katahdin? Which goes with, was it hard to find a good place with privacy to go number 2 in the woods for the past 6 months? You do the best you can. Now the Katahdin question, I really thought about that. It's a bald. There were so many people up there when I was there, and it's a bald. Thankfully, I did not incur that problem, but you just have to find a rock and hope you had friends with you to, block the path. But there are places where like you can't get off the path, so run back to tree line, hope for the best. But any other place besides like the top of a mountain, like on a bald, like it's decently easy. I would leave my bag. So I'd leave my pack on the trail, and it's bright red so I can, find the trail again. Because if you take your bag with you, you might not be able to find the trail. I kept my fanny pack on, which had all my important stuff on it. Go your 200 feet off the trail, find a good spot, and, do your business. So most of the time, it was no problem. On top of Katahdin, I'm glad I didn't run into that issue. And then several questions were about my feet being wet all the time, every day. Because if you weren't following along towards the end of my hike, or if I'm brand new to you, it essentially started raining when I was in Vermont. And it did not, or actually it started raining when I was in Massachusetts, very end of Massachusetts, early Vermont. And it did not stop the rest of the summer. It rained almost every single day. And if it wasn't raining, your feet still got drenched. So, question, I'll just read them all at once, and I'll answer them. It said, how did your feet do being wet almost every day? Did you only have one pair of socks? Trench foot? Were there any ramifications from your feet being wet all day, every day? And how good does it feel to finally have dry feet? So I'll do them in order. So having your feet being wet all day, every day is so not fun. I had one pair of hiking socks, actually 2 pairs, because I had my Gingy liners and then my Darn Tough socks that I wore together to hike in, and then I had a dry sleep pair of socks for nighttime. So I would just leave one pair drenched all the time. They weren't drying out. It wasn't going to happen. And as soon as you put your dry socks into wet shoes, they're gonna completely get drenched almost immediately. So I kept one pair dry all the time, so I'd have a dry pair to have at camp, so my feet wouldn't be so sad at night. And I very thankfully, I didn't have any issues, just besides being greatly annoyed. I didn't have any trench foot, any athlete's foot, anything. So I was very, very lucky because I was around people that had major, major, major issues. So thank you, feet. You did so good. And to the, how does it finally feel to have dry feet every day? I cannot tell you how much I have enjoyed not having to worry about my socks being wet every single day. Like having dry socks, having my little basket of dry socks it's fantastic, to say the least. Oh, I missed one. It says, how many days have you had wet feet on your 2023 hike? Well, out of 188 days, maybe realistically probably a third at least, because for 2 months my feet were wet every day, and that's a third. So at least a third, if not more. Oh, this next chunk, it's all of my rain gear stuff, so stuff about my rain gear. So I had a PACA, kind of a combination pack, cover, and jacket. And this person asked, how did your PACA perform? I bought one to use on next year's through hike attempt. Amazing. I think it did great. I think the PACA did as well as any lightweight rain system could have possibly done on trail. Did it wet out? Yes. Was it hot? Yes, which is a part of this next question. But Anything that's going to be light enough to justify carrying on a through hike is gonna wet out at some point. Like if you're walking in the rain absolutely all day long, it's gonna wet out, whether that be from sweat because you're hot or just because water gets in. But I think it's the best type of rain system. And this question says, and I'll have to film a clip of this over this audio, it said, I would love it if you could show how you wear your blueberry rain pouch coat. If you're new here, my trail name is Bad Bat, hence this trail name Bad Bat Hikes, and hence my, bat on my shirt. But when I had my rain gear, like in full rain mode, I referred to myself as Blueberry Bat, because I was just like a big blue blob. So that's what they're referring to. Like when you have it on your backpack and then switch to fully wearing it. So I will insert a clip of me doing that here. And I just answered this one. It's, did you love your Blueberry Bat rain gear? Yes. Was it hot, or was there anything you'd change? Yes, it was hot. And I don't think I would have changed anything. Like, I think if you told me I needed a pack for a through hike tomorrow, I would still take that. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. Just be aware that it is gonna wet out and it is hot, but that's any rain gear you're gonna take on trail. But I thought it was great. Next, if your fanny pack carried food, did you put it in your bear bag every night? Yes, and the most annoying thing is when you're all ready for bed, your bear bag is hung, and you see you still have snacks on you or like trash or anything, and then you have to go and take your bear bag down and like put your stuff inside. So I finally got in the habit of like checking my fanny pack before I would hang it. So yes, you need to hang every wrapper, every bit of food, because I didn't worry about bears so much as you need to worry about mice. Like a mouse will chew a hole through literally anything if it can smell food. So thankfully that didn't happen to me. And I definitely accidentally slept with a couple of bars in my fanny pack more than once. So double check it. Another gear question. How was the Gossamer Gear tent on the AT? I had the Gossamer Gear the 1 tent, and it worked well for me. Now, did it have 7 holes in it by the end? Yes. Only one of those holes I think is my fault, but they were all in the canopy. So I don't know if it was the way I was packing it or brushing up against stuff. Who knows? It got a lot of holes in it. I patched them. It was fine. Would I recommend it in the winter? Absolutely not. The condensation is terrible. But I used it in the spring and summer, and I thought it was pretty good. Going along with the tent, which tent would you pick if starting again? So if I were to start again, honestly, I'd probably still take my tarp tent rainbow, my double rainbow. And I say that because I started really early. I started my through hike at the very beginning of February 4th. So it was essentially a double-walled, big enough tent where on those freezing cold nights, I didn't get wet. Because like your number one enemy when it's cold is getting wet and hypothermia. If I was in the Gossamer Gear tent, I would have had all kinds of condensation. I would have woken up with my sleeping bag drenched, and that's just not safe. So I think I would still start with the same tent, but plan to switch out for a lighter tent once it gets warmer. Same guy, is anything extra clothing wise you would pack next time? I don't think so. I was pretty happy with my clothing setup. I did switch stuff in and out for summertime, but no regrets clothing wise. I mean, there were a lot of people asking the same question, but I'll pop up Charles Anderson on it here. It says, would you consider doing the PCT sometime? And here's E. Watts, would you want to do any other through hikes? Will you still post or maybe do some more hiking? I had a lot of like, are you gonna do more questions? Well, the answer to that is not anytime soon, because of the whole I need to move and get a full-time job with healthcare and rebuild my life kind of a situation. So will I be hiking? Yes. Is it going to be a through hike literally anytime soon? No, but I do hope to at the very least do a bunch of weekend hikes just to do something. But I will still be posting a bunch of post-trail content. What part of the trail was the scariest to hike or scramble? And that goes along with what was your most scariest moment? So the scariest moment, if any, and then which was the hardest section of trail? I kind of buddied these all up together. The scariest was probably when we were trying to go up to Katahdin the first time, and it was so windy and so rainy, and you were just on the side of a cliff, basically rock climbing. I was very afraid. That, similar, going over Madison when it was so windy, like hold your poles down, like knocking you around windy. When it's that windy and you're like on top of just a pile of rocks, it's a little scary. It's a little scary. And then there was one, I can't remember the name of the mountain, but there was one rock scramble in early Maine. I'll have to see if I can find it. But it's when I had Daddy Llama with me, and it was just straight up, and there was nothing to grab onto, and again, it was windy, and he was right behind me, like encouraging me and like making sure, oh, like put your hand here, you're doing a great job, like that kind of thing. It was terrifying. So there are quite a few. Just New England, it was definitely the hardest part because that's where all of those happened. Next, did you stay injury-free on trail, or was it something you didn't include in the videos? Pretty much yes. I never really got hurt, which I am so grateful for, because you never know. Like one wrong step and that could be the end of your hike. But I was able to stay relatively injury-free. Like I'm back now and like I'm good. I'm fine. I don't have any aches or pains, and my body is doing great as far as injuries go. But the only time I really kind of physically hurt myself was in the Smokies, where I like tweaked either a muscle or a tendon, something in my foot, and I was like weebling around for a couple of weeks. But after that, I was fine. This question is, what resources did you use to plan things like town stops, Far Out, AWOL, etc.? I use Far Out, and if you do not know, Far Out is an app for your phone, and it's a map of the AT. It's broken up into chunks, and they have things marked like shelters, water sources, towns, hostels, restaurants, road crossings, like anything notable. They'll have like a little bubble you can click on. It'll give you a description, and it will allow people to comment about it. So that I could click on a water source, and I could see a comment from hiker 123 saying, oh, this is dry, don't count on it. Or I could click on a hostel, and someone's like, this is a great place to stay, and I would take that into consideration. So if you are doing any section of the AT, get Far Out. Would you do the New York trip again like you did? If you're unaware, I got off trail for 5 days and went to New York City. And while that trip was great, I would not do that again. Like, I would not recommend planning a extended vacation in the middle of your hike, because it kind of throws you off your groove. A, I lost a bunch of friends that were really fun to hike with, and B, like, even though I was walking around New York all day, like, you kind of lose your trail legs a little bit, so no, I would not do it that way again. Favorite town stop? Erwin, Tennessee. Erwin, Tennessee was fantastic. I stopped there for a 0 day with my hiking partner, Woodchuck. We just had a great time. We stayed at Uncle Johnny's, which was super fun. We had a good group of people there. It was wonderful. So Erwin, Tennessee was my definite favorite town stop. Weight loss. So if you were unaware, I lost a lot of weight while I was on trail. My total from like when I started to when I finished was 35 pounds. At one point, I had lost 43, and that was when I bottomed out and I started just doing absolutely everything I possibly could to get weight put back on while I was on trail, because I was losing it in a very unhealthy way, you know, hiking up mountains all day, every day, and not being able to eat enough. So 35 pounds is my total weight loss. Best and worst state? Maybe Virginia? I know Virginia is like a quarter of the trail. It's not a quarter of the trail. It's 500 miles of the trail, but like it was so diverse, and there were so many like very notable, iconic stops along the way, including the Grayson Highlands, which I think might be my favorite section. So if my favorite section's in there, I'll call it my favorite state. So Virginia's was the best. The worst was probably Vermont, because of the mud, the rain, and you know, the mental state I was in while I was there. So Vermont's the worst, Virginia's the best. This one says, I'm a 58-year-old single person now, but I've contemplated hiking the PCT in 2 years. Yes or no, am I too old? I can't speak for the PCT, but for the AT, am I too old? Absolutely not. You are never too old. I think the oldest person to do the AT was maybe in their 80s. They're definitely in their 80s. I'm not sure how old, but 58 years old, I'd say is pretty average. Like, I met a lot of people in that age range, like, throughout my hike. So you are definitely not too old. Get out there and do it. Rock on. Knowing what you know now about hiking the AT, would you do it again? I'm so happy for you. Well, thank you very much. And I think yes. Even though I know how hard it is, how long it's going to take, all of the struggles that come along with it, I think I would do it again. And that leads it into, was it worth it? 1,000% yes. It was definitely worth it. It was an adventure of a lifetime. Are you glad you did social media, or do you wish you wouldn't have? I'm super glad I did it. Like, I am super glad I did it. Even, like, I'm super glad I filmed, and like I have that to look back on and to like preserve those memories. I've already looked at some of my older videos and I have loved looking at it, and then like sharing the journey with you guys and like having essentially a cheering section to come along with me as I went, and like all of your lovely comments. It's been fantastic. So I am super glad I did it, and I definitely don't regret it at all. Will you get a certificate? I remember you got a tag with numbers, or do you notify the ATC of your completion? Yes. So essentially when you're done, you can apply to be what's called a 2,000 miler. And you go to the ATC's website, you fill out some information, and then they send you your certificate and some other swag. There's like a couple stickers and your little certificate, and you get that. So you're considered a 2,000 miler when you're done. This person asked, what number were you at the top? And then what number were you when you checked in Georgia? So my tag that I got in Georgia, I was the 80th person to start. So 80 was my first number. I was the 123rd hiker, northbound hiker, to make it to Harper's Ferry. Something's happening. The joys of a working theater. And then my number for Katahdin was 500 and something. I don't have my certificate with me right now. I'll look it up. So I was this number at Katahdin. So I got slower every time. I love this one. It was off the wall. What's your favorite pizza? Pineapple and bacon. Where did your trail name Bad Bat come from? So if you're new here, hello, my name is Bad Bat. I got my trail name. I'm completely deaf in my left ear, have been since I was born, so I can't really tell where sounds are coming from. Thus, I would make a bad bat, or I say at least a hungry one. Last one. I got many more questions than this, so I'm so sorry if I did not get to yours. I did read all of them, and perhaps I'll do another one of these someday. But that leads me into, have you considered doing a live Q&A? I have. Drop it in the comments below. When? I don't know when. When could you guys come? What day of the week and what time would be best? So I'm in the central time zone, if that makes a difference. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Location change. I moved into the dressing room because they started drilling stuff on stage. So that was almost done anyhow. So if, like I said, if you would be interested in a live Q&A with me, I'll figure out how to do a live. Have no idea how to do that, but I'll figure it out. So let me know what day of the week and what time. Also, I have planned, I want to do 4 top 5 videos. So like top 5 hostels, top 5 campsites, top 5 something from trail. What do y'all want to hear? What top 5s would you be interested in learning about? I want to do what y'all want to watch. What do you want to see from me? So, live Q&A, yes or no. What day of the week and what time? And top 5 blank videos that you guys would be interested in seeing. So if you're interested in following along on my outdoor adventures and want more post-Appalachian Trail content, don't forget to subscribe. I also have an Instagram account, which is where I asked for questions in the first place, so go follow me over there. But for now, happy trails.